Gina showered quickly and put on her uniform. In the mirror, she saw the same determined face that had earned her this command at just 38 years old. Her dark eyes revealed little of her thoughts as she pinned the captain's insignia to her collar. "Captain, to the bridge," came the voice over the intercom. When she arrived, her first officer, Tae-jun, stood waiting. He was tall and serious, with a military posture that never seemed to relax. "What is it, Commander?" she asked. "We're picking up strange energy readings from Sector 7, Tae said. "Nothing like we've seen before." The main screen showed empty space, but the sensors told a different story. Something was there, invisible to the naked eye, but definitely present. "Full stop," Gina ordered. "Ready all systems, but do not power weapons. Let's see what we're dealing with first." The Thunderbolt slowed, its massive engines quieting to a gentle hum. Gina felt the familiar tension in her chest that came with the unknown. In 5 years of deep space missions, she had learned to trust that feeling. "Ma'am, the readings are getting stronger," said Mina, the science officer. Her fingers moved quickly over her console. It's like the fabric of space is thinning." Gina walked to Mina's station. "Show me." The display showed energy, patterns swirling like a whirlpool in space, beautiful but deeply unsettling. "Send a probe," Gina ordered. The small probe launched from the ship and moved toward the anomaly. As it approached, its signal began to distort. "We're losing telemetry," Tae reported. Suddenly, the probe vanished. Not destroyed, there was no explosion, no debris. It simply disappeared. "Pull us back," Gina ordered. "Increase distance to—" Before she could finish, the ship shuddered violently. Warning lights flashed across every console on the bridge. "What's happening?" Gina demanded, gripping her chair as the deck tilted beneath her feet. "Something's pulling us in," Tae shouted over the wailing alarms. "Engines at maximum reverse." "But we're not breaking free." Gina hit the ship-wide comm. "All hands, brace for impact. This is not a drill." On Earth, in the headquarters of United Earth Command, Admiral Han received the final transmission from the Thunderbolt. "Unknown force, they cannot break free. It will attempt to—" Then static. The Admiral stared at the screen in disbelief. The Thunderbolt was humanity's pride, a ship that could stand against any known threat in the galaxy. Now it was gone, along with 1,500 of Earth's finest. "Run the scan again," he ordered. His assistant shook his head. "Sir, there's nothing there. The ship is completely gone." In another part of the building, Junior Intelligence Officer Day Park reviewed the sensor logs. Something caught his eye. A quantum signature in the final moments before the Thunderbolt vanished. He'd never seen anything like it. "This doesn't match any known destruction pattern," he muttered to himself. When he brought his findings to Commander Lee, the older man's expression darkened. "Drop it, Park," Commander Lee said quietly. "That's an order from the top." "But sir, if they're not destroyed, they could be—" "I said drop it," Lee snapped, then lowered his voice. "Some questions are better left unasked. The ship is gone. That's all you need to know." Day left the office confused and troubled. Why would Command want to silence an investigation? That night, representatives from 17 alien species gathered in the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council. The Council had maintained an uneasy peace in the galaxy for centuries, but Earth was a relative newcomer, admitted just 20 years ago. "We extend our deepest sympathies for the loss of your vessel," said High Counselor Zell of the Brixian Empire. His 8 eyes blinked in what humans had learned was a gesture of respect. "The Thunderbolt's disappearance is a tragedy for all spacefaring peoples," added Ambassador Orn of the Tala Confederation. Yet in private chambers after the formal meeting, the tone changed dramatically. "One less human warship to worry about," Zell said, his voice now carrying no trace of sympathy. "They emerge from their death world and expect to be treated as equals," scoffed Orn. "Let this be a lesson in humility." Many Council species considered Earth a death world, a planet so harsh that its inhabitants developed unusual strength, resilience, and aggressiveness. Humans were viewed with a mixture of fear and contempt. 3 years would pass before anyone discovered what truly happened to the Thunderbolt and its crew. 3 years of questions without answers. 3 years during which Earth mourned its lost heroes and built more ships, determined never to be vulnerable again. And deep in the unknown reaches of space, Captain Gina Kim opened her eyes to darkness and the sound of strange machinery. The journey had only just begun. The strange ship appeared from nowhere. Sensors at Outpost Sigma detected it first. A massive vessel emerging from what looked like a tear in space itself. The outpost's scanners struggled to get clear readings. The ship absorbed rather than reflected the scanning signals, making it appear like a moving void against the stars. "Contact approaching from Sector 7, announced the technician on duty. His voice shook slightly as he studied the readings. Station Commander Tay looked up from his reports. "Identification? Sir, this can't be right," the technician said, "but the quantum signature matches the Thunderbolt." "The Thunderbolt?" Tay nearly dropped his coffee. "That's impossible. That ship disappeared 3 years ago. Everyone at the station stopped what they were doing. The Thunderbolt had been Earth's most advanced battleship before its mysterious disappearance. Its loss, along with all 1,500 crew members, had been mourned across human space. "Open a channel," Tay ordered, his throat suddenly dry. The main screen flickered to life. A woman's face appeared, familiar yet strangely altered. Captain Gina Kim looked older than her file photos. Her eyes held a hardness that hadn't been there before. Most disturbing were the faint lines of metal visible beneath the skin near her temples. "This is Captain Kim of the UEN Thunderbolt," she said, her voice carrying an odd resonance. "Requesting permission to return to Earth space." An uneasy silence filled the command center. This was the same woman who had vanished 3 years ago, yet somehow different. "Captain Kim," Tay finally responded, "your ship disappeared 3 years. Hagot, you were declared lost with all hands." A slight smile crossed Kim's face. "For you, it's been 3 years. For us, it's been 50. Within hours, the news spread across Earth and its colonies. The legendary lost battleship had returned, but changed in ways that defied explanation. Its hull now featured technology unlike anything humans had created, sleek, almost organic patterns that seemed to shift when viewed directly. Earth Defense Command ordered the Thunderbolt to remain at a safe distance while a delegation was sent to investigate. Leading this delegation was Senior Intelligence Officer Day Park, who had been just a junior officer when the ship vanished. He had never given up believing they might return, despite being ordered to drop his investigation years ago. As the delegation's shuttle approached the Thunderbolt, Park stared out the viewport at the transformed vessel. What was once gleaming Earth alloy now seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Parts of the ship's structure moved slightly, as if breathing. The alarm woke Captain Gina Kim at exactly 500 hours. She rubbed her eyes and stared at the ceiling of her quarters aboard the UN Thunderbolt. This was their 5th day patrolling the edge of human space. The massive battleship carried 1,500 crew members and represented humanity's most advanced military technology. When they docked and the airlock opened, Park was the first to step aboard. Captain Kim waited to greet them, flanked by several crew members. All showed signs of the same changes, subtle implants visible beneath their skin, eyes that seemed to glow faintly in low light. "Welcome aboard, Officer Park," Kim said. "You've been promoted since we last met." Park was surprised. She remembered him from their brief interaction years ago. "Captain Kim, we have many questions." "And we have answers," she replied, leading them to what had once been the ship's conference room. Now it contained technology that seemed to defy physics, displays that floated in mid-air without projectors, chairs that adjusted themselves automatically to each person's body. Kim explained that the Thunderbolt had been pulled into what she called a pocket dimension, where time flowed differently. There they encountered beings called the Builders, ancient entities who shared their advanced technology. "They needed us," Kim said. "They're at war with a force they call the Harvesters, creatures that consume entire civilizations. They've been watching humans for centuries. They believe our unique adaptability might be the key to stopping the Harvesters." To demonstrate the ship's new capabilities, Kim ordered a simple test. A small defense drone fired a low-power energy pulse at the Thunderbolt. Instead of impacting the hull, the energy seemed to be absorbed and then redirected back, completely disabling the drone without destroying it. "The technology requires biological integration," Kim explained, touching the visible implant at her temple. "It changes us, but we remain human at our core." While the delegation reported back to Earth Command, debate raged among Earth's leaders. Some saw the returned crew as saviors bringing advanced technology. Others feared they might be changed beyond recognition, perhaps even controlled by alien influences. Park met privately with Captain Kim after the official meetings. "Why come back now?" he asked. Kim's expression darkened. "Because the Harvesters have found this galaxy. They're coming, Park. The Galactic Council knows about them, but has hidden the truth for centuries." She gripped his shoulder with unexpected strength. "We return to help Earth prepare for what's coming. We have 3 months, maybe less, before the first wave arrives." As if to confirm her warning, reports came in that same day of unknown ships appearing at the edge of human space. The invasion had begun. Day Park stood in the sterile lab, watching the medical team examine samples taken from the Thunderbolt's crew. The results displayed on screens around the room told a disturbing story. These were no longer entirely human beings. "Their DNA has been fundamentally altered," explained Dr. Sue, the lead scientist. She pointed to complex patterns on the main screen. "The changes appear to be ongoing. Their cells are now partly made of programmable matter." "Meaning what exactly?" Park asked, though he feared he already knew. "Meaning they're becoming something else," Dr. Sue said quietly. "The technology they call dark tech doesn't just interface with them, it transforms them." Park thought about Captain Kim and her crew. They still acted human, still had their memories and personalities. But how long would that last? Outside the lab window, he could see the Thunderbolt docked at Earth's main orbital station. Even at rest, the ship seemed alive, its modified hull shifting slightly like the chest of a breathing animal. Engineers who tried to study it reported strange effects, tools that wouldn't work properly, scanners that gave contradictory readings, and an unsettling feeling of being watched. "There's more," Dr. Sue added. "The crew members share a subtle connection. Their brain patterns synchronize when they're near each other. It's not mind control exactly, but they're becoming a hive mind," Park finished. The scientist nodded. Slowly, yes. That evening, Park attended an emergency meeting of Earth's Security Council. The room was tense, as military and political leaders argued about what to do with the returned ship and its crew. "The Thunderbolt's weapon systems are beyond anything we've ever seen," Admiral Han reported. "In controlled tests, it neutralized an entire drone fleet without destroying a single unit. The dark technology simply turned them off." "And you want to incorporate this technology into our other ships?" asked President Sun, her expression concerned. "The Harvester Scouts have already destroyed 2 outposts," Han replied. "Conventional weapons barely scratched them. We need this technology, even if it means changing our own people." Sun challenged. Before anyone could answer, the doors opened and Captain Kim entered uninvited. The guards moved to block her, but couldn't seem to raise their weapons. Kim walked calmly to the center of the room. "You're afraid of us," she stated simply. "You're right to be." The room fell silent. "The dark technology comes with a price," Kim continued, "but the Harvesters come with a greater one. They don't just kill, they consume. Your history, your culture, your very essence as living beings. Nothing remains but empty worlds." Park studied her as she spoke. Her movements were too perfect, too efficient. The implants at her temples glowed faintly. "Captain," Park said, stepping forward, "tell them what you told me about the Builders." Kim's eyes met his, and for a moment he saw something like gratitude in them. "The Builders didn't just give us this technology. They chose us specifically, humans. They've been watching Earth for centuries." "Why us?" President Sun asked. "Because Earth is what other species call a death world, a planet so harsh that its inhabitants develop unusual resilience and adaptability. The Builders need these qualities. They've been fighting the Harvesters for millennia, and they're losing." As if on cue, urgent messages began coming in from the outer colonies. More Harvester ships had appeared, dozens of them, moving methodically toward Earth. While the Council debated, Park requested a private meeting with Kim. They met in a secure room deep within Earth Command. "There's something you're not telling everyone," Park said once they were alone. Kim smiled slightly. "You always were perceptive." "Yes, there is more." She looked tired suddenly, more human. "The Builders aren't just allies, Park. They're refugees from a universe the Harvesters already consumed. They escaped here and have been hiding, rebuilding their strength. And now they're using us to fight their war. It's our war too now. Kim's expression hardened. But you're right to be cautious. The more we use the dark technology, the more we change. And the builders, they need vessels. Vessels. Park felt a chill. You mean bodies? Before Kim could answer, alarms blared throughout the facility. The first major harvester attack had begun. The Thunderbolt launched immediately, Captain Kim returning to her ship with a speed that seemed impossible. Park watched from the command center as the massive battleship moved to intercept the harvester. Forces. What followed wasn't combat as Park understood it. The Thunderbolt didn't fire conventional weapons. Instead, waves of dark energy rolled from the ship, catching the harvesters in a web-like pattern. Their ships didn't explode. They simply stopped. Their energy turned back against them. "My God," whispered Admiral Han. One ship just neutralized their entire attack force. After the battle, Earth's leadership became deeply divided. Many began pushing for immediate adoption of the dark technology, seeing it as Earth's only hope. Others feared what humanity might become in the process. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council sent an urgent message requesting a meeting. Their representative, Zal of the Brixian Empire, arrived looking shaken. "We have known about the harvesters for centuries," Zal admitted to President Sun. "We thought they were contained in the outer reaches. We were wrong." "You knew?" Sun's voice was cold with fury. "You knew and said nothing. We believe sacrifice of newer species might delay their advance to our core worlds," Zal said, his 8 eyes avoiding her gaze. As the truth emerged, humans across Earth looked up at the night sky with new understanding. The stars no longer represented opportunity. They represented danger. And aboard the Thunderbolt, Captain Kim gazed at her reflection, watching the dark technology spread beneath her skin, and wondered how much of her would remain when the final battle came. Captain Kim stood at the center of Earth's largest training facility, surrounded by the commanders of 20 human battleships. These men and women watched with a mixture of awe and fear as Kim demonstrated how to use the modified dark technology. Unlike the full version that had transformed her crew, these adaptations were less invasive but still powerful. "The technology responds to intent more than physical controls," she explained, holding up her hand. A small sphere of dark matter formed above her palm, shifting and pulsing with her thoughts. "How you must guide it rather than command it." Commander Jin, captain of the UEN Valiant, stepped forward to try. When the technology connected with him, he gasped. For a brief moment, he felt connected to something vast and ancient. "You'll feel the presence of others using the tech," Kim warned. "It creates bridges between minds. This is what makes our combat coordination so effective." In his office at Earth Command, Park reviewed troubling reports from the first ships to adopt the technology. Crew members increasingly referred to themselves as "we" instead of "I" in their logs. Some reported shared dreams. Park wondered how much of their individuality would remain if the modifications continued. He searched through historical records and discovered something the builders had never mentioned. Throughout human history, there were accounts of people encountering beings that matched the builder's description, tall ethereal figures that spoke directly into the mind. These encounters were always followed by rapid technological advancement and warfare. "They've been manipulating us for centuries," Park whispered to himself. Meanwhile, Earth's leadership remained divided. Some politicians and military leaders embraced the dark technology, seeing it as humanity's salvation. Others warned that it might cost humanity its soul. "We can't become something inhuman to save humanity," argued President Sun in a heated council session. "We may have no choice," countered Admiral Han. "The harvesters have already destroyed 3 colony worlds, billions dead." Across human space, people watched news reports with growing fear. Videos showed harvester ships, massive, crystalline, structures that seemed to absorb light, methodically stripping planets of all resources, including organic matter. Nothing survived their harvesting process. In response to the threat, thousands of humans volunteered for integration with the dark technology. Training centers were established on every major world. Captain Kim and her crew served as instructors, teaching others how to use the alien systems. Park noticed something disturbing during these training sessions. As more humans adopted aspects of the technology, subtle connections formed between them. They began to anticipate each other's thoughts, move in perfect coordination. It was efficient, but deeply unsettling. When he confronted Kim with his findings, she didn't deny it. The technology creates networks between users, she admitted. It's what makes our combat coordination perfect. But we're still individuals, Park. We've just expanded. For how long? He challenged. How long before individual? Thoughts disappear entirely? Kim's expression flickered with something like doubt. The Builders assured us. The Builders have been manipulating humanity for centuries, Park interrupted, showing her the historical records he'd compiled. They've been guiding us toward this moment, pushing us to develop in ways that make us useful to them. Kim studied the evidence in silence. For the first time since her return, Park saw genuine uncertainty in her eyes. Their conversation was cut short by urgent news. The main harvester fleet had been detected approaching the core systems, thousands of vessels converging from multiple directions. The final battle was coming sooner than expected. Even more surprising, the Galactic Council, which had treated humans with contempt since their admission, now sent desperate requests for protection. The same alien species that had hidden the truth about the harvesters now begged for humanity's help. We cannot stand against them, admitted Zal, the Brixian representative, his usual arrogance replaced by naked fear. Our weapons are useless. Only your dark technology has proven effective. Earth's modified fleet prepared for battle, now comprising 50 ships with varying levels of dark technology integration. The Thunderbolt would lead them, serving as the command vessel with Captain Kim coordinating the entire defense force through the technological network. The night before the fleet departed, Park visited Kim in her quarters aboard the Thunderbolt. He found her standing before a mirror, studying her reflection. The dark technology had spread further, tracing patterns across her skin like living circuitry. "Do you still dream, Captain?" Park asked quietly. "Yes," she replied after a moment. "But not alone anymore. I share dreams with the crews and sometimes with others I've never met." She turned to face him. "I'm changing, Park. We all are. But I still remember why we fight." Park showed her the device he'd brought, a modified version of the dark technology that his team had developed in secret. "This allows humans to use the technology without surrendering their autonomy," he explained. "It creates a barrier that prevents the deeper neural integration." "The Builders won't approve," Kim warned. "That's exactly why I think we need it," Park replied. Kim studied the device, then looked back at her reflection. "How much of me do you think is still human?" she asked. Park didn't answer. He couldn't. The next morning, Earth's fleet departed for the Galactic Core, humanity's last hope against the approaching storm. As the ships accelerated to faster-than-light speed, billions watched from planets below, wondering if they would ever return, and if those who did would still be human. The final battle erupted in the swirling dust clouds near the galactic center. Earth's dark technology-enhanced ships moved with impossible coordination against the vastly larger harvester fleet. The void blazed with energy as the two forces collided. On the bridge of the Thunderbolt, Captain Kim directed the human defense. Her eyes glowed with circuitry as she connected with every ship in the fleet through the dark technology network. The crew moved as one, each person understanding their role in the larger pattern without needing to speak. "The harvesters are adapting," warned Commander Tay. "They're changing their energy frequencies to resist our countermeasures." Kim nodded. Through the network, she sent new instructions to the fleet. The human ships shifted formation, creating a complex geometric pattern that strengthened their combined energy field. On a support vessel near the rear of the formation, Day Park monitored the battle while his team prepared their modified version of the dark technology. They had worked through the night to produce enough units for the entire fleet. The modified tech would allow humans to use the Builders' power without surrendering their individual consciousness. "The Harvester mothership has appeared," announced a technician. Park looked at the main screen. The mothership was massive beyond comprehension, a planet-sized vessel generating reinforcements faster than they could be destroyed. It pulsed with strange energy that warped the space around it. We can't penetrate its defenses, Kim's voice came through the comm system. It's drawing power from somewhere beyond our universe. Park felt a chill. Captain, we need to talk. Privately. Despite the chaos of battle, Kim established a secure channel. When her image appeared on Park's screen, he was shocked by her appearance. The dark technology had spread across her face, threads of living metal merging with her skin. What is it, Park? We're a bit busy, she said, her voice carrying strange harmonics. I've discovered something about the builders and harvesters, Park explained quickly. They're not different species, they're the same beings caught in an eternal civil war. Kim was silent for a moment. Yes, I know. You know? Park couldn't hide his surprise. I suspected for some time. The builders confirmed it when the changes in us accelerated. Her eyes, now with circuitry visibly threading through the irises, met his through the screen. They were once a single species that achieved technological transcendence. Some wanted to preserve other life forms. Others saw all organic life as resources to be harvested. And now they're using us as vessels for their consciousness, Park said. The dark technology isn't just a tool, it's a way for the builders to inhabit human bodies, Kim nodded slowly. To defeat their brethren, yes. Around them the battle intensified. Several human ships had been disabled, their crews fighting to survive as harvester boarding parties attempted to take them. The dark technology network pulsed with fear and determination as humans throughout the fleet resisted. We've developed a modification, Park told her, showing the device. It creates a barrier that allows humans to use the technology without becoming vessels. We've made enough for the entire fleet. The builders won't allow it, Kim warned. They won't have a choice if we act now. Your crew is too far integrated, but the rest of the fleet still has a chance. Kim's expression became unreadable, the human emotions mixing with something alien. Do it, she finally said. Park's team transmitted the modification instructions to all ships except the Thunderbolt. As each crew installed the devices, a change rippled through the fleet. The hive-mind connection became less invasive, allowing individual thought to reassert itself while maintaining tactical coordination. The builders, realizing what was happening, attempted to override the modifications through the Thunderbolt's crew, but now the human fleet fought with renewed determination, using the alien technology while maintaining their humanity. The mothership is charging its main weapon, Kim reported. If it fires, half the galaxy will be sterilized. Park stared at the tactical display. Even with the dark technology, they couldn't penetrate the mothership's defenses. They needed a new approach. Captain, he began, but stopped when he saw Kim's expression. I'm too far gone to be saved by your modification, Park, she said with strange serenity. But I can still choose my fate. Before Park could respond, the Thunderbolt broke formation and accelerated toward the Harvester mothership. The massive battleship's dark energy systems began overloading in a carefully calculated sequence. What are you doing? Park demanded. Making a human choice, Kim replied. Her image on the screen flickered as the Thunderbolt systems destabilized. The builders made one mistake. They thought we would surrender our humanity for power. They never understood what makes us human. Park watched in horror as the Thunderbolt plunged toward the mothership's core. There has to be another way. Remember us, Kim said, a final human smile crossing her transformed face. The Thunderbolt collided with the Harvester mothership, its overloaded dark energy systems creating a chain reaction that tore through the massive vessel. A silent, expanding sphere of distorted space-time consumed both ships completely. In the aftermath, the remaining Harvester forces retreated, their connection to the mothership severed. The human fleet, damaged but triumphant, held position as the shock of victory and sacrifice swept through them. The Galactic Council representatives, who had watched the battle from a safe distance, approached with newfound respect. They had witnessed something unexpected: humanity's refusal to surrender their essence even when offered godlike power. We did not believe your species would resist such temptation, admitted Zal of the Brixian Empire. We have misjudged humanity. In the months that followed, Earth took its place as a guardian of the galaxy. The dark technology was carefully contained, studied but never fully embraced, a tool rather than a master. Park led a new initiative to develop defensive technologies that protected without corrupting. The Thunderbolt and Captain Kim became legends, reminders that humanity's greatest strength wasn't the technology they wielded, but their capacity to remain human even when transformed. For in the end, it wasn't power that saved humanity, but the choice of how to use it.